This was never supposed to leak. No paparazzi, no photos, no confirmation. Just secret meetings between two of the biggest stars on Earth, Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas. Hidden locations, private conversations, and a connection so carefully protected that even Hollywood didn't see it coming. What really happened behind closed doors? No flashing cameras, no red carpets, no official statements. Just quiet meetings that left Hollywood whispering. When news first broke that Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas were spending time together, it didn't arrive through a magazine cover, a viral photo, or a carefully planned public appearance. There were no staged smiles, no coordinated outfits, and no exclusive interviews. Instead, the story emerged through subtle sightings, brief moments, whispered observations, and small details noticed by only a few. Two of the biggest stars in the world were choosing privacy over publicity, and in today's attention-driven culture, that alone felt unusual. Almost instantly, fans began asking the question everyone wanted answered. Was this just friendship or something far more personal? Tom Cruise, the legendary action icon known for protecting his private life at all costs, has always been one of Hollywood's most guarded figures. His relationships have historically been placed under intense scrutiny, turning even the smallest personal moments into worldwide headlines. Ana de Armas, on the other hand, represents a new generation of stardom, elegant, talented, and rising rapidly through the industry with critically acclaimed performances and global recognition. On the surface, they seem like an unexpected pairing. Different careers, different journeys, different public images. Yet behind closed doors, something was quietly forming. Those who followed the early whispers noticed one striking detail. There was no attempt to capitalize on the attention. No social media posts. No promotional tie-ins. No strategic leaks to the press. If anything, their behavior suggested the opposite. Every meeting appeared intentional, discreet, and carefully removed from the usual celebrity circuit. Where most high-profile figures are often seen in famous restaurants, red carpet events, or industry hotspots, Tom and Ana were reportedly choosing low-key locations and private settings, places where they could exist simply as people, not public figures. That decision alone changed the tone of the story. Because in Hollywood, relationships are rarely allowed to unfold quietly. Cameras follow, rumors spread, narratives get written before the people involved even understand their own emotions. But this was different. There was no manufactured drama, no carefully curated public image, and no rush to define what it all meant. Instead, there was only silence, and that silence spoke louder than any headline ever could. What made fans even more curious was the way their connection seemed to grow without explanation. No official confirmations, no denials, just consistent reports of time spent together, conversations that stayed private, an atmosphere of mutual respect that felt genuine rather than performative. It wasn't about being seen. It was about not being seen. And that's what made it so shocking. This wasn't a romance built on attention, branding, or publicity. It wasn't designed to trend or dominate entertainment news. It was built on moments no one was supposed to see. Conversations away from microphones, shared time without an audience, and a bond that existed beyond the reach of social media and speculation. In an industry where every relationship is dissected and every appearance is analyzed, Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas seemed to be doing something rare, choosing authenticity over exposure. Whether what they shared was romantic, deeply personal, or simply a meaningful connection between two people navigating extraordinary lives, one truth remains undeniable. Their story captured attention not because it was loud, but because it was quiet. And sometimes, the most powerful stories in Hollywood aren't the ones announced on red carpets. They're the ones that unfold in silence. Their story didn't begin with romance. It began with professional respect. Tom Cruise has always been known for being extremely selective about the people he allows into his personal and professional world. With decades of experience at the highest level of fame, he doesn't easily open up to just anyone. Every collaboration, every friendship, every partnership is built on trust, discipline, and shared values. So when Ana de Armas entered his orbit, it wasn't through headlines or public attention. It was through genuine admiration for her talent and character. Ana de Armas, celebrated for her elegance, emotional depth, and commitment to her craft, had already earned a reputation in Hollywood as someone who takes her work seriously. She wasn't just another rising star. She was an actress known for preparation, focus, and authenticity in every role. According to insiders, Tom quickly noticed this. What began as professional appreciation soon grew into something more meaningful, a connection built not on fame, but on mutual respect. They reportedly first connected through shared industry circles, where conversations naturally went beyond scripts, scenes, and upcoming projects. What started as discussions about acting and storytelling slowly shifted into deeper topics: life goals, ambition, personal values, and the challenges of navigating fame. Tom was said to admire Ana's grounded nature and strong work ethic, qualities that are rare in an industry often driven by in a culture where celebrity relationships are frequently shaped by publicity. Their quiet approach made their story stand out, not because it was dramatic, Not because it was scandalous, but because it was authentic. And sometimes the relationships that speak the loudest are the ones that choose to remain silent. So where did they go, and how did they keep it hidden? That question became the center of the mystery. In an industry where every movement of celebrity is tracked, photographed, and shared within seconds, the idea that two of Hollywood's biggest names could spend time together unnoticed seemed almost impossible. Yet, according to sources close to the situation, that was exactly what they managed to do. Their meetings were said to be intentionally low profile, not luxury hotspots, not five-star celebrity restaurants, not places where cameras wait outside and fans gather hoping for a glimpse. Instead, they chose locations designed for privacy, quiet, understated spaces where they could blend in without drawing attention, small private dining rooms tucked away from the main floor, secluded hotel lounges reserved for guests who value discretion, even discreet evening walks in places few people would recognize or think to search. These weren't dates built for spectacle. They were moments built for normalcy. People who reportedly crossed paths with them described an atmosphere that felt calm, comfortable, and remarkably genuine. There were no dramatic entrances, no exaggerated gestures, no effort performed for the world. Just two people sitting close, speaking softly, sharing smiles, and enjoying each other's company without pressure. No bodyguards hovering in obvious view. No cameras following their steps. Just a rare sense of simplicity in a world that rarely allows it. And that is what made their story so compelling. Because what shocked people wasn't what they did. It was how carefully they avoided being seen. Hollywood is built on visibility. Every dinner can become a headline. Every walk can become a viral photo. Paparazzi, trending stories, and social media speculation are part of daily life for public figures. Yet Tom and Anna seem to navigate this environment with precision. They moved quietly. They chose privacy over attention. They structured their time in ways that protected what they were building from outside noise. It wasn't secrecy for the sake of drama. It was secrecy for the sake of peace. In a culture where celebrity relationships are often announced before they even begin, their approach felt almost revolutionary. There was no attempt to create hype, no carefully timed leaks, no exclusive sources feeding the media. Just two people choosing discretion in a world that thrives on exposure. And then, slowly, whispers began to surface. Small online mentions, subtle references, quiet conversations among fans who started connecting the dots. Yet when the speculation reached them, something remarkable happened. They didn't rush to respond. They didn't issue statements. They didn't shut it down. But they didn't confirm it either. They simply remained silent. And in that silence, the story grew even stronger. Because in Hollywood, silence is rarely accidental. It often means intention. It means boundaries. It means a decision to keep something personal in a space that constantly demands access. By choosing not to explain themselves, Tom and Anna allowed the story to exist without being defined by headlines or shaped by public expectations. Silence became their statement, not a denial, not a confirmation, but a quiet declaration that whatever they were sharing was not meant for the world. In the end, their hidden meetings weren't about escaping attention. They were about protecting something real. Whether it was a deep emotional bond, a private romance, or simply a meaningful connection between two people who understood each other, one thing became clear. They valued authenticity over exposure. And in an industry where everything is designed to be seen, their choice to remain unseen was what made their story unforgettable. Why would two global stars keep their connection so secret? The answer may lie in experience and protection. Tom Cruise has spent decades living under the most intense spotlight imaginable. Every relationship he has ever had became a headline. Every personal decision was analyzed, judged, and discussed by millions. He knows better than most what happens when private life turns into public property, how quickly stories get twisted, how expectations are created, and how something personal can lose its meaning once the world begins to watch. Ana de Armas, although younger in fame, has also learned this reality. In recent years, her rise has been rapid, and with that success has come attention, speculation, and public judgment. She has seen how easily narratives are formed, how quickly opinions change, and how little control celebrities often have once a story escapes into the media. For both of them, privacy wasn't about hiding. It was about protecting something real. Insiders suggest that they wanted to explore whatever connection was forming without outside pressure, without public expectations, without cameras deciding what it meant before they had even defined it for themselves. They weren't interested in headlines announcing a relationship or fans debating its future. They wanted time to understand each other, to speak freely, and to experience something personal without an audience. In a world where celebrity relationships are often turned into entertainment, that choice was deliberate. They weren't chasing a Hollywood narrative. They weren't building a brand. They weren't creating a story for public consumption. They were choosing something rare, normalcy, normal conversations without microphones, normal dinners without cameras, Normal moments without millions of opinions attached. And that choice says more than any public statement ever could. Because when people seek attention, they invite the spotlight. They hint on social media. They appear together in public. They let the story grow because the story itself becomes part of their identity. But Tom and Anna did the opposite. They stepped away from visibility. They reduced the noise. They made space for something that existed only between them. That suggests their bond wasn't built for publicity, branding, or attention. It wasn't designed to trend or generate headlines. It was personal, intentional, human. In an industry where relationships often unfold in front of millions, where love stories are dissected, criticized, celebrated, and sometimes destroyed by public opinion, Tom and Anna chose something radically different. They chose to keep their world small. And that is quietly powerful. Because protecting something from the public requires effort. It requires discipline. It requires saying no to opportunities that might bring attention. It requires putting the relationship above the narrative. In Hollywood, that is not easy. But their actions suggested that whatever they were building mattered more than how it looked from the outside. Their secrecy wasn't mysterious for the sake of mystery. It wasn't dramatic for the sake of drama. It was intentional for the sake of authenticity. In choosing privacy, they were choosing control over their own story. They were choosing to experience something without outside judgment shaping it. They were choosing to be people first and celebrities second. And perhaps that is what made their connection so compelling. Not because it was hidden, not because it was whispered about, but because in a world that demands access to everything, they chose boundaries. In an industry built on visibility, they chose invisibility. In a culture driven by attention, they chose meaning. And sometimes, the most powerful relationships are not the ones the world sees, but the ones the world is never allowed to touch. Now comes the question every day, personal moments are posted, shared, and analyzed within seconds. Relationships are announced through photos, captions, and headlines. But Tom and Anna did something entirely different. They chose silence. No public confirmation. No visible displays. No attempt to shape the narrative. Their connection existed without explanation, without validation, and without an audience. That kind of restraint is rare. Whether what they shared was romantic, emotional, or simply a deep bond between two like-minded individuals, one truth stands out. It was real to them. There was no performance. No image to maintain. No storyline designed for public approval. Whatever their connection was, it lived in the private spaces where cameras didn't follow and opinions didn't intrude. There were no staged photos, no dramatic announcements, no interviews offering hints or carefully chosen words. Just authenticity in a world obsessed with attention. And that authenticity is what continues to resonate. Because when something is genuine, it doesn't need proof. It doesn't need validation from headlines or confirmation from sources. It exists quietly, meaningfully, and without the need for explanation. Their story didn't unfold in front of millions. It unfolded between two people who chose to protect it. Sometimes the most powerful stories aren't the ones shouted from rooftops. They're the ones whispered in quiet corners. The ones that don't ask for approval. The ones that aren't shaped by public reaction. The ones that remain untouched by expectation. And maybe that is exactly what made Tom Cruise and Ana de Armas' secret dates so shocking. Not because of scandal. Not because of controversy. Not because of drama. But because in a world that thrives on spectacle, they chose simplicity. They remind